You are listening to the AHO Radio Network with Outlier host John Krotec. My name is Jason Freebird Freeman, former professional boxer and mixed martial artist, cage fighter. On this special series, John and I will be discussing 4 boxing punches that helped shape my life. The jab, the cross, the hook, and the uppercut. If used effectively, these 4 boxing punches can shape your own life. Oh, by the way, my grandfather was Charles Manson, perhaps the most notorious cult figure in American history. I'll leave it at that. But thank you for listening to my story and supporting AHO Radio.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, here we are again with Jason Freebird Freeman on the AHO Radio Network, which is Authentic Human Outliers. We're telling his story of triumph and overcoming great odds, living with the legacy of the Manson, Charles Manson family name. There he goes again. When he does that, the room just chills down like immediately. So, don't move. No, but anyhow, so, smoking and joking aside, what Jason has done with his life is pretty remarkable. He's taken the fight game, if you will, and the 4 punches of the fight game, which is the jab and the cross and the hook and the uppercut. This is the second part. This is show number 4 of the cross, dealing with the past. And in this conversation, we're going to talk about the fighter in him. Tell me about that. You said, and we've already listened to some of your story, but not all of it. How has fighting been part of your whole life?
Let me share with you. I can't go into my whole life, but I can tell you this. When I was out of prison in a 90-day, 120-day rehabilitation.
How many years were you in prison though this time?
It was a total of a year and a half, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So the fight began when I was in the receiving, no, it's not the receiving center. Damn it.
A processing center. No, a processing center.
SRCCC, it's a program where when you're in prison, you get out, and if you pass this program.
So it's kind of like a pre-rehab.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a rehabilitation to let prisoners prepare themselves to enter back into life.
Okay, so a year and a half in prison, you go to this processing center, and what happens?
Yeah, well, that's where I met a man who won the 1982 Canton Tough Man Tournament, and as soon as I heard that, I knew what my calling was. I knew it.
So you immediately knew that you wanted to get into the fight game.
I gave my 2-pack of cigarettes away, and I started doing pull-ups that day. As soon as he said that, I'm like,
well, what did he tell you? I mean, he just said,
yeah. He just said, 1982, because we were probably sharing and swapping stories, and he won the area Tough Man Tournament, and I knew what I was doing as soon as I got out.
So did he tell you how to get connected and how to get it started? Or
I didn't need any of that. All I knew was the end point, and you just look at it and you go. You ain't got to look around you.
So where did you go? Did you find a gym, or you got out? And I know you were having some issues with your wife. You were faced with a divorce, so that was a conflict right off the bat.
Yeah.
But of course, the fighting spirit that you have has prepared you for that.
Yeah.
Not completely though.
No. Whenever I got out, I hung a bag up in my backyard, and I started going to town. Just hitting the bag the same way we did back in high school. That was hanging up in the basement. And so the hardcore gym that I was always used to was hitting the heavy bag in the dead of winter. I had a really good friend of mine, Kenny Hancock. He was in kickboxing and boxing before I was, but he saw that talent on the inside of me, and he knew the frustration and the anger on the inside that I would let out only on the mats.
So the plan was to take all that. You had direction. The plan was to just become a fighter.
Yeah.
A tough guy fighter or a real boxer? I mean,
I just wanted to
just
lay,
a fighter?
I just wanted to lay people out.
Woo!
So
What do you mean, hurt people?
no, well, I mean, I've been knocked out before. It didn't hurt. You just wake back up.
Okay, I'm just don't hit me, man. Don't knock me out. So here you go. So we're dealing with the past, and very heavy in prison. You get to this processing center. You meet this guy, and he puts the lights in your head to where I want to be a fighter. That's what I'm going to do. I know it's something that I'm good at. I'm going to deal with my past in this way. Did you forget about your past, or you just did something different?
I actually just did something different. I took another turn. I made a turn that I didn't turn back away from, because it was putting me back on top of that pedestal that I used to be on back in high school. So I knew I had to fight my way out. I had to find a way. To get my aggression out. If not, look where I just come from. So there's no going back.
So we call that a pivot. It's called a pivot. You had a new direction, a new course to take. You were going to deal with stuff in a different way. And there you go. You're off and running. You're taking these skill sets. You're dealing with your past. The cross is like in full effect. You get the heavy bag and you're just going to town on that. You don't really want to hurt people. You just want to be a fighter.
Yep.
You want to be the best fighter?
Yep. I personally wanted to be the best fighter, at least in our, I think I already got the area pretty well, like the Tri-County area. Then
that's in Ohio, right?
Yeah. So I first wanted the Akron Badass tournament is the first tournament that
you were in.
Yeah. And that was a kickboxing.
How did you do?
Tournament. Well, the first guy was bigger than I was, and I'm going, great. Why'd I have to draw this guy? Why couldn't I have drawn like that little dude over there or something?
Right. That's the way it works, man.
Yeah. That guy didn't come out to the second round. I threw so many roundhouse kicks, probably out of fear, that he couldn't breathe. That took his lungs away.
So you won that fight, and then who was the next fight?
Yeah. The next fight, let me think here. I knocked that guy out in the first round. So then me and Kenny were looking ahead as the bracket starts to dwindle down and who's there and who's worth anything or who's not. And we were getting ready. So the second night I came back for the finals, and my friend Kenny said, Jason, he's like, I gotta let you know something. He said, just because I don't want someone else telling you and you being surprised. He says, but this is Mark Beggs. He's like 7-time return champion. Him and his brother, he's like the
big time bigwigs.
Yeah. And
so what do you think?
Oh, my heart dropped. I didn't know why I was even in this tournament. I just wanted to walk away and go home after hearing that. And he looked at me and said, Jason, but he says, I know you and you got this. I believe in you and you got this fight. I already know you do. He said, just don't stop. You've already got it. So he dropped me down and lifted me back up all in the same split second. And I went from defeat to standing back on my feet, throwing jabs again, just keeping it basic.
Did you knock him out?
Keeping it basic. No, we fought tooth and nail till the third bell rang. The fight was over, and I actually got my hands raised. I got my hand raised. I won my first tournament and beat one of the best guys in that area up in Ohio, and I accomplished the goal that I set out to do. And
well, congratulations, man.
When that
well, so the conflicts that you had really were internal conflicts, really confidence in yourself, and even though you say you're still, there's still these fears and still this lack of confidence that leaves you conflicted. So how did the record go after that when you became the fighter then? So you're dealing with the past and you found a way to do it. Tell us about your record.
Well, when I became a fighter, I was actually going through a divorce or separation, and we had a daughter. So that that, of course, built up even more frustration, aggression.
Mm-hmm. Focused aggression is what boxing is, right?
Sure is.
Yeah.
Focused aggression, that came from Ryan the Lion Madigan. I love you, brother. I knew that, just turning that leaf and being able to take that energy from what's on the inside, all the negative energy, and put it in a ring or on a bag, that was my outlet. That was my sanctuary. I still call it to this day. That's my sanctuary. So I have at my house a boxing ring in the backyard. I've got a weight room, and I've got wrestling mats. The same thing I've had ever since I was a kid.
So how did the fight game transform you? These punches we've been talking about, but as far as the victories and this empowerment again, and you're finding the positive way this time, rather than dealing drugs or doing something stupid to land yourself back in jail again, which so many people do because of not taking responsibility. But how did the fight game transform you?
I can honestly say it started with the cross, dealing with my past. I saw that my father and my mother split. They split ways whenever things got tough.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people did, was they either stayed together miserably or they fought through it, and they became something bigger. And being so young, I can't blame her or myself, but I look at where my father was at going through his divorce at that time when I was a freshman, and him having another boy out there. I thought, is this hereditary? Is this going to fall right back around?
Still doing the same thing. Yeah.
I'm going to go through divorce. I'm going to lose my kid. I'm not. All this stuff. It's still, man. It just felt so real. I didn't want to let go of my new family, and the way I did that was I stayed focused on that next tournament. I didn't let nothing derail me from that next tournament.
So all the things that you're facing in life, the challenges, you channeled it into the fight game, and because of your spirit, which is a testament to you, and that drive to want to overcome these things is what brought you great success. So there you have it. We've talked about deciding to fight with the jab, and now we're finishing up the cross, but it's never finished, really. Dealing with your past is something that sooner or later we have to deal with.
Yeah, it takes time.
It takes time, and I'm glad you said that, Jason, because that's all we have sometimes is time. Yeah. Patience. And one thing that I know that I've learned personally from the Bible, my own journey, is that patience, I can never figure it out, man. You and I were talking about it. We want things done now. The hell with waiting on anything. And, you mentioned that you were mad at God at times. Why didn't it happen? But, think about this. Sometimes all we got is time, like I just said, but sometimes we don't have the time. And so it's up to you to make that decision to fight for your life, to overcome the hardships, and do it in a way that fulfills your destiny, because I think we're all here for a reason. And think about that, Jason.
Oh, yeah. I think of my past. I think of what I was doing at the age of 10 as a freshman, fresh out of high school. I was fighting my way out, and I found out it was fighting my way out of my own head.
Yeah.
So when I asked the Lord to come into my life, that helped me open my eyes to what life's really about, because I was living a fake walk. It wasn't a fake walk, but I was living for the world.
Wearing the mask, and the fight's not over. We have Jason Freeman here telling his story of overcoming the hardships of family trauma, living with the name of Charles Manson as his granddad, all kinds of things hitting him at a young age. And where we're going next is going to be heavy duty, because he's going to start throwing some hooks. And the hook,
that's my moneymaker.
Hit your target. We're going to talk about that in the next episode. So stay tuned to episode 5 of the AHO Radio Network and Jason Freeman's story. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to my Decide to Fight story. My name is Jason Freebird Freeman, the grandson of Charles Manson. I hope you join John and myself for another episode of Decide to Fight on AHO Radio, the place where we engage in real conversations without all the hype.